Hello, look, my face is back. How cool is that? Okay, so let's talk about these energy transformations. So number one is the first video. Hopefully you watched that, and if you did, make sure you say yes. Number two says, what is the original source of energy for a hair straightener? If you don't know a hair straightener, we plug it into the wall. It's got these little tong things on it, and they get hot, and you rub them on your hair, and it straightens your hair out, okay? If we plug it into the wall, what is the original source of energy? Electrical. So hopefully you said electrical for number two. Number three says, what is the new form or forms of energy for a hair straightener? Select all that apply. So for these ones, more than one thing could be the correct answer. But for hair straightener, it gets hot. So the new form of energy is thermal. So thermal energy, hopefully that's what you selected for number three. Number four says, what is the original source of energy for a nuclear power plant? The original source of energy there is nuclear. It kind of gives it away in the question. So nuclear energy, if you remember, is the energy that happens that's given off whenever you separate the nucleus of an atom. That's nuclear energy. That's what happens in a nuclear power plant. Now, they turn it into cool things. Let's look at number five. What's the new form or forms of energy for a nuclear power plant? Select all that apply. So some crazy cool stuff happens at a nuclear power plant, okay? They've got all these atoms. They separate them out. Whenever you see that an atom is separated, there's a lot of energy that gives off, and that energy is really hot. So we're going to pick thermal because the energy that happens whenever you break those atoms apart, those nucleuses, super hot. Thermal energy. Okay, so we're going to say thermal energy. There's water in a nuclear power plant. That heats up that water and turns these turbines. Okay, so when those turbines are turning, that's mechanical energy. Okay, and the whole purpose of a nuclear power plant is to make electricity. So the heat heats up the water, turns the turbines. The turbines, when they're turning, create electricity. And that's electrical. So we've got three things happening at an electric power plant that nuclear energy turns into the three different types of energy. So it's transformed into mechanical, thermal, and electrical energy. Okay, that was a tough one. Feel free to go back and fix it if you got it wrong. Okay, what's the original source of energy for a blender? So if you don't know what a blender is, most kitchens have one. You plug it into the wall. You could put like ice and cream and maybe strawberries or something in there to make you a shake, and then you push the button and it goes really, really loud, and it chops everything all up, makes it real small so you can drink it. So we plug it into the wall, so the original source of energy is electrical. Good. Okay, what is the new form of energy for a blender? Select all that apply. So a couple things happen with a blender. It's got a little blade in the bottom whenever you turn it on that spins really, really fast. So that electrical energy is turning into mechanical energy, and we can hear it. They're really loud. If you've ever heard a blender sound, it's really loud. So the blender is going to turn into sound energy too. So we start from electrical, we turn into mechanical and sound. What is the original source of energy for a radio? Hopefully you've all seen a radio in the past. I have one in my car and I have to listen to the radio every time I get in there. I reach over and I turn it on, but it wouldn't work without electricity. So the original source of energy for a radio is electricity. And what does the radio turn that electricity into? Number 9, the new form of energy is sound. Okay, so we start with electrical energy. We turn on the radio turns that electrical energy into sound energy. Number 10 says, what is the original source of energy for a human running a race? So if you remember, humans, we get our energy from somewhere. Where do we get that energy from? That's right, the food that we eat gives us our energy. So if we're going to run a race, we've got to have some food in our systems. We got to have some energy, okay? That energy, that food, is chemical energy. So the original source of energy for a human to run a race, chemical energy. What are we going to turn that into? So as humans, if we were going to run a race, we've got our chemical energy in the form of food. We eat it. Goodness, I got a lot of things popping up here. We're going to run our race, and when we're running, we're going to be moving. So that movement is mechanical energy. if you run a lot, what does your temperature do? You get hot, right? So we're going to have some thermal energy. And then when you run, you might hear your breath going in and out. I know mine would. And then you might even be able to hear your feet hitting the floor, hitting the ground whenever you're running outside. So that would be sound. So there's 3 different things that could happen, 3 different forms of energy that happen with a human that's running a race. We've got mechanical, thermal, and sound. And we started it all off with chemical. So number 10 is chemical, number 11 is mechanical, thermal, and sound. What is the original source of energy for a battery? So we've talked about this one a couple of times. The original source of energy for a battery? Chemical energy. Good. So the energy stored in chemical bonds, that is what's happening in a battery. What's the new form or forms of energy for a battery? What is that? What's that chemical energy transform into? Well, it transforms into electrical energy. What it does from there just depends on what you have it in. So we're going to stop at electrical for a battery. What's the original source of energy for the sun? So this one is pretty cool. Okay, the original source of energy from the sun is nuclear energy. So what's happening with all the gases in that big old huge sun is nuclear fission all the time. These atoms are busting apart. So much energy is being released. Man, our sun is super big. It's huge. Does all kinds of crazy stuff. It's awesome. The original source of energy is nuclear. Okay, so what are the new forms of energy for the sun? We've got thermal energy. That sun gives off a lot of heat. Man, we can feel it. Even here on Earth, we can feel the heat from the sun, right? And then we can also see that radiant light, that light energy that the sun's pouring off on us. We'd be lost without it, right? So the sun starts with nuclear energy and it ends with thermal and radiant energy. Okay? Number 16, what is the original source of energy for a ceiling fan? If you don't have a ceiling fan, surely you've seen one a time or two. A ceiling fan is a fan that's hooked to the ceiling of your house and it spins around and around and around whenever you're sitting there. Helps cool you off. It's good stuff, ceiling fans are. The original source of energy for a ceiling fan is electrical. But you always have that plugged into some kind of wiring in a ceiling. That electrical energy turns into what type of energy for a ceiling fan? So what's the new form or forms of energy for a ceiling fan? Well, it starts turning when you turn it on, and if it's in motion, we've got mechanical energy, right? And then if you've ever had a ceiling fan or any kind of fan, really, when you turn it on, you can hear it. Even if it's quiet, you can still hear it. So we've got 2 different things happening here. That electrical energy in a ceiling fan turns into mechanical and sound energy. Number 18 says, what is the original source of energy for a solar panel? Okay, here we've got a solar panel. If you don't have a solar panel, that's okay. If you've never seen one, that's all right. We've kind of talked a little bit about what they do. Solar panels get their energy from the sunlight. So the sun shines down on the solar panel, and then that solar panel does something with it. But the original source of energy is the light from the sun, okay? And that solar panel turns that energy into electrical energy. That's the whole purpose of a solar panel, is having clean energy. So we start with radiant or light energy. Solar panel turns it into electrical energy. Okay, the next thing I have for you is a super fun video that I'm going to put down here for number 20. And when you watch that video, I want you to get you a piece of paper. Okay, and I want you to write down as many energy transformations as you can when you watch that video. If you have to, you can stop it, rewind it, watch it again, back it up, pause, whatever makes you happy. But write down as many as you can, and then I want you to send me an email tonight or today and tell me how many energy transformations you found and list a couple for me. If you want to list them all, it'd be super cool. If you just want to list a few for me, that's all right. But I want to know your total number that you found and at least list me a few, okay? Maybe 3, maybe 4, something along those lines. That's going to be a little bit of extra credit for this assignment right here. I love this song, and I love watching the stuff that they do in it, so it's going to be really cool. Y'all are amazing. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you tomorrow.